Oh, I'm really nervous now. Right, so I don't really know how to start off these videos. Just kind of freeform Q&As where there's no script and I'm kind of just sitting in front of a camera, you know, where I'm not doing like dumb faces and shit. So this is new. It's been a long time since I've done something like this. And why are we doing a Q&A? It says it in the title, because we finally hit 100,000 subscribers! I can't believe it's finally happened. I legitimately cannot believe it. When I first started off the channel, it was for the sake of hobby, and that's it. And thanks to the wonderful help of all of my friends and all of the people watching, we finally hit the big milestone which I never thought I'd hit. So crazy, absolutely crazy. Thank you all so much for that. Legitimately, I'm blown away and terrified by the sheer size of that number. So what do we do for 100k? I know some of the long-time viewers or people who follow me on Twitter, I'm so sorry, they might actually know. We're gonna get into that, but first I thought, well, I guess like a hand reveal. What about the other? Oh, here we go. Oh, I actually have these underneath those. Holy moly. So yeah, I actually have hands. Here they are. Wow, we'll probably get into why these are a thing in the first place. I have answered that question before, but I still get it quite a lot. And so I thought bringing it back up again may just like smooth things out a bit, where people they come in and they go, okay, the video's alright, but why the gloves though? Or, you know, the video's bad, why the gloves though? So one of the first things that I know a few people brought up when they saw I finally hit 100k, which was something I've been hinting at for, I want to say, years at this point, which is a Final Fantasy IX video in the same style as I do my older Nier stuff. That is gonna happen. That is something which is absolutely gonna happen. The thing is with that Final Fantasy IX video is that honestly it's pretty intimidating to make, because that game is so personal to me, that I think the process of making it is gonna be so strange, because I don't know what I want it to be exactly. Do I want it to be a full-on retrospective? Do I want to throw my own thoughts into it? Do I want it to be kind of a video for people who may not know what Final Fantasy IX is? I think what I want it to be a mixture of everything. I want it to be a big celebration of the game, but more than anything, I want it to be why I like the game so much, how much it's affected my life growing up and everything. So it's going to be a very personal video, and I think people need to know that going in. What I'm going to do, I think you'll know when things really get started. I'm going to be capturing footage for Final Fantasy IX over on my Twitch channel, which can be found here, I guess. That could even mean it's on the screen right now, or it's in the description. I'll be like getting footage for the video over on there, so join me for that, why don't you? So yeah, the Final Fantasy IX video, it will happen, mark my words. As for when it's gonna be, I'd like it to be in 2020, at least in 2020. That's gonna be my goal for next year. It is scary. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie that, you know, maybe I'm actually putting it off, because the entire idea of the project is so strange to me, but I still don't know exactly what I want it to be. But it's exciting at the same time. It's not bad fear. I just need to make sure that everything turns out the way I want it to be. So yeah, please look forward to that, and again, without hitting 100k, like, it would never happen in the first place, so, oh yeah. The other thing I wanted to bring up before we move over onto the question part is a massive thank you to a group of people who have stuck by me during all of this as well. Those are my patrons. I know I bring up the whole patron thing a lot, but with the current YouTube climate, I feel like creators are kind of forced to. It definitely is like the main way you can put content out there at a reasonably consistent rate and get paid in return. So I'm gonna definitely say it again right now that if you would like to help support me in a way which isn't just subscribing or doing all that stuff, then you can go to my Patreon, which again can be found down below. And one other thing, before I move on, I completely forgot in my last video, one of the new rewards for $5 was a thank you in the credits, like I take some names kind of out of the hat and I thank them. So I'm going to do that right now as an apology. So I have to bring out my phone for this one, sorry. Today I'm going to be thanking P_Genie, Edward Corby, Mark Zapan, and Trouble2381. Thank you very much everybody for your continued support. I really, really appreciate it. And in the next video, I promise things will go much smoother as far as putting that in. So yes, thank you very much everyone. I almost forgot to mention! So I guess this is the perfect time to bring it up. This will date the video substantially, but as of right now, I'm just too damn excited. On the 2nd of January, if things go well, I will be at MagFest. Yes, I will be going to America for the very first time. So if any of you would like to come and say hello, then I will be wandering around. You can follow me on Twitter to kind of know my location where I am in there. But yeah, so it will be my first time ever going to MagFest. Definitely very, very excited for it, and it will be really, really great to see some of you, maybe chat, maybe hang out. And yeah, so please keep your eyes open, and I will hopefully see some of you at MagFest. From @Jowser, is there an origin story for the gloves? Yes, there is. There was an old television show called Zap. It was a very, very old TV show back when I was a kid, and I've mentioned this before again, so I think for a few people it's going to be quite nostalgic. There were these gloves which came through a curtain, and they'd kind of look at things, pick them up, and do weird magic tricks and everything. And for some reason, I did it in a video, and it stuck. And it's not really much of an interesting story as to why they became a thing. They just did. And I know they're not the greatest thing in the world, but I guess they are quite recognizable, because now if somebody goes like, oh, you know, Clemps, and they go, isn't he the one with the gloves? And it's like, well, you know, I guess they kind of, they do something, and I guess honestly they're kind of just like part of the channel now as much as anything else, really. So yeah, not much of an interesting origin story, but there we go. That is why the gloves are here. Favourite game or series you haven't talked about on the channel? This is something I can definitely answer. So one thing which I'm really, really excited to start in 2020, after I finished my Kingdom Hearts retrospective, which will be finished very, very soon. The video which is coming after the next one, it's going to be Dream Drop Distance. So yes, we're returning to it. Hooray, finally! I want to do a new big series in a similar vein to my Drake and Gardener stuff, so I hope that's exciting for some people. It's going to be on Final Fantasy XIV, and because I know that not everybody can afford to play MMOs, but the story of Final Fantasy XIV is something which still interests people. So I guess if I do videos in which talk about the story, then hopefully people can at least know the gist of it without having to pay the subscription fee. And who knows, maybe I'll sell it enough that people will just jump in and go, wow, I want to play that, because Final Fantasy XIV is legitimately fantastic. I really, really like that game, so I cannot wait for that. Super exciting. Look forward to that. Do you still plan on doing videos about Xbox JRPGs? I've been really curious about them. Yes, the Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey videos are still going to be happening. As for when they're going to happen, probably not soon. I've still got like some of the other series to finish first, but I would love to cover Lost Odyssey. That game is so good, and it's such a shame that it's still held prisoner by Microsoft right now on the Xbox 360. I'm surprised it's not on PC right now. Put it on PC, fam. Like, seriously, it's like the best game to put on PC, and it's not. It's being held prisoner. My poor child. Holy shit. Pets.
Come here, Poops. Come here, Poop. Come here. Poops. Poops. Poops.
Poos.
Poops. Come here, Poops.
What is your note-taking process like for your videos? Do you pause the game at regular intervals to write and type something? Do you usually wait for save points or something of the sort, and then take down everything you kind of made mental notes of in the old brain zone? That's an interesting one. It does depend on the game. A lot of the times what I like to do is I'll play a game and I'll tend to just write notes about things I find funny. So if I'm playing a game and I come across something weird or silly, I'll take notes of it on a Google Doc, and essentially some of my scripts really do revolve around like, right, that part's silly, how do I put that bit in? Because usually I have a reasonably decent memory of the game itself. If not, I can literally just trawl through footage and rewatch it again, but remembering jokes on the spot, which I personally think could work, those are really the only things I take notes from. Other than that, really, if I'm writing the script and I can't remember a bit of the gameplay, I'll just go straight into my folder where I put all the footage, put it back on and watch it. There's no really strenuous note-taking process when it comes to that. I'll just watch the footage again, but jokes are a whole other thing, and I tend to forget them quite easily, so, you know, like waking up from a dream, you gotta write them down in your dream diary before you forget them, because they will fly away. They are fleeting things. Seeing that you're such a big RPG buff, what's your experience with fantasy books? Any favourites? Yeah, it's funny, recently I've been getting into the whole audiobook craze. Again, Audible, hit me up. I'm not just saying that. Audible, I listen to your shit all the goddamn time. Sponsor me, baby. So I've been listening to a lot of Brandon Sanderson. I think his work is interesting. I really liked the Mistborn trilogy. Those are some really interesting ones. What was the name of his? Okay, Google. Brandon Sanderson.
According to Wikipedia, Brandon Sanderson is an American fantasy and science fiction writer.
Thanks, Google. Where is fucking book? Yeah, thanks, Google, but I want to know more. Alright, hang on, one moment. Oh my god, this... How do phones work, man? Oh! Poos.
Poos.
Some of his books, some of his other books are the Stormlight Archive. I liked those ones, kind of. If you do listen to them, if you have like an Audible subscription or something like that, I'd recommend his ones, but I'd say start off with maybe Elantris or Mistborn. The Stormlight Archive is good, but I think around book 2, maybe, they introduce this one character, and you'll know her when you get to her. Quite possibly the single most irritating character I think a book series has ever introduced. Try and think about it like this way. Imagine if you're reading Lord of the Rings, and halfway through the Battle of Helm's Deep, this little fucking rat of a girl with a spork comes up to you, quoting fucking anime references. And the entire time, it's as if it's like, hey audience, laugh now, time to laugh now. While Aragorn rolls his eyes, and it's like, oh, you funny character. This is the most irritating little shit I've ever had the displeasure of reading. But other than that character, I think they're pretty good. One of my favourite authors is Haruki Murakami. I'd recommend his books to anyone. They're incredibly surreal reads. But if you're looking for something which is a bit more grounded, I'd say Norwegian Wood is definitely one of his more. I mean, I bought that book for my mum, and she loved it. And you know, if it's a book that mums love, then you know it's for everyone. Am I a basic bitch for saying Lord of the Rings? I kind of feel like a bit of a basic bitch for saying Lord of the Rings. But you know, that's the first Strand type of book. That's right, Kojima. Fucking J.R.R. Tolkien got you beat, motherfucker. A lot of walking. There are a lot of other books, aren't there? Quite a few books. What are other books that I like? There's one with a big spiky lad in it. What's a book with a spiky boy?
According to Google Books, most scientific research to date has been carried out on males, and some people think this means the diagnostic criteria for ASD is not suitable for diagnosing females.
Are you okay? What the fuck? Oh, I found it. From a book series called Hyperion. That's where the spiky boy comes from, the Shrike. Hyperion's pretty damn good, honestly. It's just like a super good science fiction novel collection of books with probably one of the most saddest character arcs I think I've ever read in near to the end of book 1, which I think a lot of you are going to know what I'm talking about if you've read the books. It's heartbreaking. Oh yeah, Stephen King's The Dark Tower. Those are really weird, but I think those are pretty interesting. If you're looking for some good things to listen to on long train journeys and shit, those are good ones recommended by me. So go check them out. I might be too late to this. You aren't. But as a fan of RPGs, do you prefer playing RPGs on consoles or on handhelds? Lately, I've been really enjoying playing my RPGs on the Switch. I really like having the freedom to take a big JRPG and just play it in, you know, in bed. Just being able to take a JRPG like Dragon Quest XI's and being able to take it to my mum's place, play it there. I think there's so much joy in being able to pick up and put down such a long game, because it does stop you from getting burnt out. Because I feel like that's something that JRPGs can do to you sometimes. If you play them back to back, due to the length of some of them, you can feel a little bit burnt out sometimes. So having the ability to pick something up and put it back down with ease, which is what I love about the Switch so much, it definitely does make things a bit easier. I just prefer having the portability aspect. Worst game you've ever had the misfortune of playing? If you would choose one video game to have a remake, what would it be? Do you have any ideas they could use to make this game even better? Or maybe it's a game with a good concept but faulty execution that you want to be given another shot. It's going to be like pretty obvious for me, but I would love to see either Drakengard or Final Fantasy IX. Drakengard just because the Drakengard had a wonderful story, you know, wonderful if you like anguish and pain. The story was really interesting, but obviously the gameplay left a lot to be desired. So I feel like if you were to remake the game, make the gameplay fast, flashy, obviously full of blood, then that would be really cool. And I'd like to see what a new developer could do with that. And Final Fantasy IX, I'd love to see them do something similar to what they're doing with Spyro and Crash. Obviously not with that same style, but I'd like to see them do it where they just improve the visuals and they don't touch barely anything else. Maybe they add some quality of life things, but I'd like to see Final Fantasy IX, you know, with the same camera angles and everything, but maybe with optional voice acting, maybe an optional extra dungeon, but with, you know, full HD graphics and stuff like that. Not the new port where all of the backgrounds are like just look even worse than the PS1. I think that would be really, really cool. I guess seeing Final Fantasy IX getting a lot of love from Square Enix lately has been very, very weird. A lot of merchandise, a lot of merchandise. There's this new statue which is like here, and I was like, wow, I want that. And then I saw the price and I threw up in my mouth. But no, it is really cool seeing them acknowledge it, because I brought up a grievance with that before, where I feel like Final Fantasy IX, it almost feels like a child that Square Enix isn't that proud of. Because in a lot of the spin-off games, they tend to push it to the side a lot of the time. And I guess it's just nice to see so much love erupting, not just from the fan base, but from Square Enix itself. So it would be interesting seeing the future of 9. I'd like to see, I mean, you know, being a big fan, I'd love to see even more merchandise. Just give me more of that.
Alright, so this one's going to be mainly in voice. I saw a question in the thread which I actually forgot to answer on camera, so I'm just going to try my best to spit the shit just by sitting in my office. So here is the question. Overall, how do you feel about yourself from the start to now? And I really liked this one when I read it, because it is quite interesting going back to some of my very, very first videos, where I was very clearly trying far too hard to write sketch comedy, and I think that's what makes revisiting my older videos so I can't sit through them, because I respect the fact that other people might enjoy them, but looking back at it, it's like the way I put jokes in my videos now, even if they don't necessarily land all the time, I still think it's a much better way than I used to, where I used to try really hard to make little funny bits, and they never, I don't know, if I was to do that stuff now, I would just cut them out of the video, because one of the most important things for me when I make videos now is they at least have to make me laugh. They at least have to make me, you know, like, giggle a bit. And rewatching my older stuff, it really is a case of like, right, that's like a person who I used to be back then, and you know, the way I dealt with my scripts and humor was so much different. And that's one thing, I guess we all grow as you know, as time goes on, and it's the same for making videos. You know, your style changes, the way you write things changes. I mean, God, one of the things which, if I could go back and change one thing about my Drakengard videos and my Nier videos as well, one of them would be the sketches. And don't get me wrong, like, I respect the fact that people enjoy them the way they are now. I love the fact that people still enjoy them, but I'm more talking hypothetically here. And the other thing I would do, or the other thing as well, is of course the my monumental mistake with the whole Kaim is Red Eye thing. That was embarrassing. That was really embarrassing for me, because I trusted the words of people instead of doing research myself into that particular topic anyway, and I mean, it kind of turned into a bit of a channel meme. But if I could go back, I'd definitely look at that bit again. And another thing I'd do is I don't think I'd call them analysis videos. I really wouldn't. I agree when people tell me, you know, I don't think that those videos are strictly analysis, and it's like, yeah, I actually totally agree. They are, for a majority, they are retrospectives. And my logic at the time when I was making those videos was, right, okay, so I want the bits which I actually do analyze to make sense to people. So the only way it's going to make sense to people, you know, logically, is to explain the entire story. And by doing that, I mean, I think you guys know from like my Kingdom Hearts retrospectives, I do tend to go a little bit overboard with how much stuff I put in. So in the end, it ended up being like a big retrospective with little bits of like analysis kind of thrown in. And that's what I'd change. I'd call them like a mixture of everything instead of just calling them analysis. I completely agree with people when they say that. So yeah, it is interesting looking back at some of my older stuff and just being like, wow, how things have changed. How things have changed, like the way I write, the way I look at humor. Just there's so much. It really is crazy, but you know, I guess that's one of the most exciting things about continuing to make videos is how things change. So yeah, as I said, don't let what I just said like put you off some of my older stuff. It's more of like a personal thing. I'm sure, like some of you, if you look through your old yearbooks or stuff like that, you look at your friends' entries and you go like, oh, those are cute, and then you find yours where it's like your entry's like, haha, I'm epic, and you're like, oh no, why the fuck did I write that? It's the same kind of thing, I guess. So yeah, anyways, I'm gonna pass back on to the camera me now, so be right back.
Right, so I've already said it, I've said it so many times already, but it needs to be said again. Just thank you for getting me to this point. I know everybody always says it, but it doesn't feel real. It feels like a dream, and it still hasn't sunk in properly. Like, things are still going on as normal, and it's weird. It's the kind of thing where you never ever expect in your wildest dreams to ever hit triple digits with that. You never do. It's intimidating. It is, and there's a lot to live up to. But at the same time, I hope that for as long as I make content, I will continue to make things that you all enjoy, that make you happy. Because at the end of the day, the biggest thing I want to do is just make entertainment that make you happy, that make your day better. And I think one of the biggest compliments I get is when I hear from people who put my content on as they go to sleep. I don't know why, that always like makes me so happy. Because I do it with a lot of content creators I like. Red Letter Media, I always love having their videos on in the background. So many other channels I love to just listen to as I go to sleep. It's very comforting. So I guess knowing that people do that makes me very, very happy indeed. Bit of a tangent there. But long story short, I am so incredibly thankful, and I cannot wait to put more stuff out for you all. I can't wait to make more podcasts, I can't wait to make more videos, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. So, again, thank you so much for 100k, guys, and I will see you all in the next video. See you later, guys.